Hi and welcome to For Teachers. Today we're going to be offering you quick tips and hints for your first parents' evening.
Now some schools might have that during the day, like a full parents conference day. Some schools might have it after school. It doesn't really make a difference. Our tips just whatever.
I think it could make a difference on how tired you are. It can be quite a draining, tiring experience, so our tips are really going to help you and make you feel confident, happy and more importantly wide awake.
So tip number one is something that I always do when I have parents in for a parent appointment. The first thing I always focus on before I get down to the grading or data or anything like that, I always talk about, is the child happy? Do they talk about school at home? Do they enjoy coming to school? Do they have friends in school? I think parents really appreciate that. It shows that you want to connect with the child personally, you've built a relationship with the child, and you want to share some good news before you start going into any data or assessment or anything like that.
But leading into tip number two, I think it's really important to have some of that data with you. So you might be very onerous and have an Excel spreadsheet with all the data in front of you so you know exactly what to say. I'd like to have a little bit. Parents do like to know about progress and they want to see their child's happy in your class, but also importantly making some progress. If you can share some data, it'll really help them understand where they're doing something great, and also it might be helpful to point out some tips and activities they might be able to do to improve their progress elsewhere. Now your school might be different in terms of, does it share rankings of students, does it share actual grades early on in the year, or does it just give generic comments and say how on track they are for their age group? So it's really important to know that what your school policy is with how much you can share.
Try and choose something that you know they've probably made progress in. Say they haven't done so well in their maths area, but most children should have made some progress in reading. So if you can share that with a parent first and say, okay, well they did go up really well in their book levels, they've gone from this book band to this one. Something like that can set the tone for a really positive experience. And even if you do have some data that you need to share or discuss, you've already made a point that the child is happy in school, achieving in school, has friends, and has made some progress in an area somewhere in school. That leads us really well onto point number three.
For point number three, we really want to be sensitive that parents are not teachers. They don't always understand the jargon, the language that you're going to use. They need something tangible, something they can grab hold of and take away. Think about that if you're telling them that their child is off track in an area, it might be off track in their spellings, off track in their times tables. You really want to make sure that you've got something to course correct and something to help them with. If you had a child in your class who needed some extra support and parents meeting was coming up, what would you provide?
I would make sure that I have something ready. So if I'm going to say to a parent, I really want them to read more at home, that's obvious. I mean, teachers were always asking children to read more at home. But if I can provide parents with an app that's got some storybooks on, or if I have a printout of different types of questions that you can ask for any guided reading book, if I can pass that to a parent, I always feel like they appreciate it. They know that, okay, I've offered something that needs to be improved, but I've not just said, go work on it. You know, parents are busy. So if I can provide a resource, I feel like it just helps them to know that I'm asking for something, but I'm not just saying get on with it, I'm providing some support.
I think it's worth having just a few printouts of curriculum overviews, just so you can pencil in and you can just show them. We've not touched on shape or algebra yet, but it's coming up in summer term, which moves us on nicely to tip number four. Tip number four, we want to really make sure that in your slot you're using your time most effectively. So how would you do that in your meeting?
Well, I know that parents, when they come in, normally they've taken time out of work or they've had a busy day themselves, and sometimes you might find that half of your time is taken up talking about Billy's achievements at home and how he's doing and his friends at home and the picnic that he went on at the weekend, and suddenly half your time is gone. So my advice would be, you should already have a relationship with the parents. If you've watched our top tips for building effective relationships with parents videos, you'll notice that we suggest at the start of the year getting to know them as best you can, sending lots of emails home. So you should already have a good relationship with a parent when they come in for the meeting. It shouldn't be the first time that you sort of speak to them.
In the past as well, I've sent out a message to parents saying if there's any particular question or anything that you would like to know about, perhaps we could book a double slot if there's something specific, particularly children with additional learning needs. They might want a little bit of extra time to talk about those things. And again, normally I set the record with parents and I say, this is how the meeting's going to go. I'm going to split it into two halves. I'm going to talk at you for a little bit, but then I'm going to give my voice a rest and you can ask me as many questions as you want. So as long as they know that, they're not going to feel that they don't have any time to air their views. So time management, really, really important.
Super important.
Tip number five.
Even if you're feeling nervous or it's a difficult time for you, and you always hear about parent meetings, don't you, and how like scary it can be for teachers and for parents, and I'm sure for children as well. I always make sure that the parents leave feeling positive, and they're going to go home and they're going to tell the children, oh, Miss Katie's so proud of you for all of these different things. I want them to know what I'm proud of. I want them to go away feeling well equipped, like they've been told some improvements that they can work on and something that would just really help them achieve more in class. That's fine, and resource. Enjoy chatting to the parent. It is part of the job. Teachers are expected to build relationships with parents like this.
I think as well it's really important that if a parent's coming to you, it's not the first time they're hearing negative news. If their behaviour is not great in class for that child, that should have really been erased in advance.
Yeah.
So they should have already had that relationship.
You don't want to shock them.
So make sure that any advice you give is concrete or tangible. It's something they can work on. It's not too abstract.
If there's an issue with behaviour, talk about what works well in school for that child. So you could say, you know, there's been an issue with this, but don't worry, I've put this amazing thing in place. I'm going to share it with you and talk you through it. If you would like to try using something similar at home, go for it, try it, because it's worked really effectively for your child. Have you done your parents' meetings or conference for the year yet? Or is it coming up soon? And if you've got any short top tips for teachers who are doing this for the first time, or something you wish you'd known on your first ever parent appointment, post down below. Any parents, share what you like to hear from teachers too, because that's really, really helpful for the people who are watching our content. As always, please click the subscribe button.
Thank you very much for watching We Are For Teachers. Goodbye.
See you next time.